Hello, I am Orpha Thrasher, and I was born on February 1st, 1922. So when February the 1st, 2021 comes around, I will be 99. And I am Malia Kelly's great grandmother. And I also have lived through World War II, which I want to tell you about. Uh, in 1939, Canada waged war against Germany because Germany had been for some time under Hitler being very, very destructive to other countries in Europe. And it was seen as time that we decided to do something about it. So in 38, I was still in high school in Elmira, Ontario, and we had to go through different things that we knew the war was on, and it was rationing of a lot of things because they needed materials and food and everything for the soldiers that we were sending to Germany. And the only person I knew who went to war was, well, there were different people around my area that did go, but it was this way that if you were a farmer and had more than one son, you had to offer one of those sons up to be a soldier. If he only had one son, you could keep him at home if he was a farmer because the soldiers needed food and a lot of other things as well. We were rationed with, we couldn't buy clothes, we couldn't buy cars, we were rationed for gasoline, we were rationed and had food stamps for food because we were also supporting the army. So it was quite a thing to go through. And in 1940, in the fall, I went into nurses training at Kitchener-Waterloo General Hospital. And I was there for 3 years. And we had about 4 months of classroom work and 3 years of practical work within the hospital. We learned how to do just about everything. So it was not really noticeable that we were at war, except we would get soldiers into the hospital for treatment. And actually, the Women's Army Corps was born at that time. Women had never served in the armed services, and they were called QACs, and it was called the Canadian Army Women's Corps. And we used to get them in every once in a while, and they wore uniforms, and they had, and then we did take a course in communicable diseases in Toronto Hospital, and we were there for 3 months, and it wasn't a bit unusual to get 20 soldiers in with the mumps or scarlet fever or measles or anything like that. And actually, I did contract scarlet fever at that time, and I had to stay for a whole month in the communicable diseases in Toronto. And that resulted in me in not being able to join the nursing sisters, which 2 of my friends and classmates did join the nursing sisters of the Army, because I had to put in that extra time at my own hospital that I had when I had been sick. So after the war, of course, it was when I met my husband when he came home. I met him because he had met his cousin in England, and I had seen his cousin, and it just happened very quickly that he came to see me, and I think it was about 5 months, and we were married. And because during the war, there was very few young men around, this is rather funny, we would go off on our duty times at the hospital, and we would come back to work, and the girls would say, "Oh, we admitted a man," and of course we all got quite excited about that because there was no young men around. And they said, "Oh yeah, he's 85." It was kind of dashing at the moment because there wasn't enough men to go around. No girls had boyfriends, and but I finally did have a boyfriend in my last year, and he went to Europe, and he was killed in France at the Battle of Cannes-en-Falaise. But after the war, I met my husband, my to-be husband, and he was home from the service, and he had served in the 1st and 2nd Regiment until 1945 of the Army survey crew, and it was their job to go in ahead of the artillery to find the large German guns, and it was a very dangerous thing. And he lost a lot of friends, but he was all right when he came home. Although there were times when he would have dreams about war, and it was quite disheartening to have him wake up out of a nightmare and think he was still there. And then, of course, things started to get back to normal, and we were able to, but this one friend of mine who was a nurse and nursed with me, she is still alive. She'll be 100 in February. She came into nursing in a hospital for returned soldiers, and she met her husband there, but he had only one arm and one leg. And they were married for quite some time, and he was able to learn to drive a van and work and do all sorts of things. Anyway, that's about it. I wish you were all here, so if you had questions, I could maybe answer them. Maybe not, but I probably could. So, thank you very much.
Malia,
That was awful.
nice work. It was beautiful, Mother.
No,
Well done.